Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Mompreneurs Making Moves. So excited to have you here. As you guys know, we restarted finally in 2026 after taking a quick break because as a busy mama, it was really important for me to ground myself again. But we've been having some exciting guests as we have revamped. And today we have Rachel Lay, the COO of the Canthal Group. And our episode title for today, which I'm super excited about, is Stepping into Your CEO Era. So when life handed her chaos, Rachel built a company. As a newly single mom of toddlers with zero safety net, she transformed necessity into a thriving, sustainable business and learned the secrets to scaling without burning out, which obviously is one of the things we love to talk about here because a lot of you have told me that you want to know how to make money online and how to build a sustainable business. And so that's exactly what we're talking about today as we dive into Rachel's story. We're going to look at how we take something that may be a hobby or you think it's just a side thing, you're not sure where it could go, and how we take that and turn that into empowering yourself as a CEO. And so we're going to learn from Rachel about her hard-earned lessons on leading with strategy, not emotion, and investing in yourself like a real asset, because that is something that we don't talk enough about. How are you today, Rachel?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good. I am in that weird phase between 1 years old and two. So like he's approaching 1.5, and then I'm getting really ramped up for the toddler years, which I don't know what that means yet because it's my first. I'm a little concerned, but besides that, I'm doing good.
I love
So
it. I love it. Yeah. Toddler
thank
years are a lot. Mine are now, oh my gosh, 17 and 19.
wow. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'll tell you
Awesome.
all the things about raising children while raising a business or multiple businesses.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to dive in. I want to first take us back. Your story began out of necessity. So, can you take us back to that moment when you decided your back was against the wall and you needed to make a choice, a business, not just a side hustle?
Yes, which actually there is an update since you and I have spoken. So
Mhm.
yes, helped went into business with closed my business, went into business with my life partner at the Canva group. And then in the last couple months, that is set. And I went and reopened my functional nutrition therapy practice. And we're doing business coaching for service-based providers, therapists, nutritionists, wellness providers. So that is the next evolution that is in play. So
Okay.
coming from necessity. So how did that all start? The story isn't unique. I was in corporate America, decided I didn't want to do that anymore. It didn't really fit. Quite frankly, it doesn't really fit with being a mother or a parent or a caregiver. So I went back to school for nutrition therapy, started my practice. And then when I got divorced, I was like, whoa, it's all on me now. The mortgage, the bills, the diapers, the clothes, it's all on me. And so it no longer was this, at the time, it no longer was this fun business that I did to help my community and my community members. It was, we do that and we have to help me first. And that means we have to figure out how to make this a legitimate business, which is very different than just opening a business and working in it versus creating a business and then making it work for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like your point, which is this is not new. There's nothing new under the sun. We all, at some point, even if we haven't yet, we all will come to this point in our lives where we have to make some major choices and things may or not have gone according to what we had planned or thought it would all look like. That's normal, but it doesn't make it easier. And we still have to make our minds up. And so I appreciate you bringing up that good point though, that's something that just happens and it doesn't always go the way we think, but it will happen. Those moments come up and that's just a part of life. So when you say like treat your business like a legitimate business, what mindset shift has to happen for a mom to know that she's on the right track and understanding that it's a legitimate business, not just something she does for fun on the side?
It's a really good question because there is a CEO mindset. And then there is somebody who delivers the product or delivers the service. And they're both necessary unless you're going to hire out. But the CEO mindset is really stepping back to say, what is this business's job in my life? What do I need this business to do? Am I going to create it to ultimately sell it? Am I going to create it to hire so then I can, be more in that management position, more in the running of it? Or do I want to be in it and I want to be the one that's delivering it all? So really it's like stepping back and saying, okay, that's an entity separate from myself. Because we hear, this is your baby. And, and I totally disagree with that. You have to be separate from your business. So stepping back and looking and say, what is the job of this business? What do I need it to do for my life? And knowing what my life is and what I need from it, then how do I go to market? How do I start it or pivot it if you're already in it and say, what do I need to do there? And most people don't know because they've gone into business because they love something. Like I loved helping people through functional nutrition. I love helping small business owners create businesses. So we go into it thinking like, I just love this, not thinking, no, I'm setting up an entity and I have to think like this over here in business. And then I have to turn off the switch and turn it on over here if I'm going to deliver the product or service. So there's no one thought I can give everybody that would help them determine that other than if I were making a decision as a CEO, how would I make it for this, problem that I'm solving?
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the acknowledgement of both that need to be there typically and also the difference between them. And a lot of us, there's no one there that says, hey, just so you know, if you're really looking to have a legitimate business, you might want to start thinking about your exit or thinking about your valuation and different things like actual business talk, if you will. There's a lot of moms that have been doing something or they're doing it currently. They don't think about those things. They wouldn't even know where to start, which again is a great segue into what you're offering, which is, the coaching. So that's great because I think it's important that we at least mention that there are other things to consider when you're truly being a business owner who's serious about growing and having a sustainable business. There are certain things that you need to think about, even if you're a mom, no one's an exception to understanding the mindset you need to have truly as a CEO. And it's not this glamorous, like, I can do whatever the heck I want. Not just that. If anything, it's more like you're saying is getting your head on straight about future vision, being strategic, having a growth mindset, being very intentional about what you're doing as a business owner. So I love that piece that you're bringing into the CEO era. Okay, so let's talk about investing in ourselves. What would you say is the most important investment you can make in yourself as a mom business owner?
Oh my gosh, whatever is going to help you grow faster, scale faster, iterate faster. So yes, and I mean, I'm a huge advocate of you have to take care of yourself first. You are the asset, not just for your business, but also for your family. And if you go down, a lot of things go down as well. And so we really need to mitigate that. So having a self first mentality will really set you up to protect you as the asset. From an investment standpoint, it is different phases in your business and in your life are going to require different mindsets, tools, mentorship, coaching, depending on where you're at. So wherever I tell women is wherever you're stuck, okay, and you're trying to make a decision, or you're like, God, I keep hitting this 100K mark, and I know I can hit 250. I know I can get 300. I have the capacity. I have the intellect, right? I just don't know the decision-making process there. Or what are my options? Invest in your coach. Invest in the thing that just gets you there faster, okay? It's like trying to go to the grocery store with your kids. It's going to take you twice as long. So invest in a sitter, right? So you can get the groceries done and you can move on very quickly. So I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's an astrologer, if it's a channeler, if it's a coach, if it's a consultant, if it's a part-time VA. Do invest in whatever you need to invest in so you can make money quicker, iterate more quickly, less pain and suffering in your business.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then that would lead me to the next question, just kind of piggybacking off of that. How do you know you're ready for a coach or for additional support? That's one. And then two, how do you know which direction to go to get that support? Because there's, like you said, there's a lot of different avenues, right? A lot of different options.
Yeah. How do you know you're ready? I don't know that we ever know that we're ready because our brain will talk us out of it. Because I think that too many women are not, they haven't had enough exposure to investing in themselves in this capacity. So whether you're ready or not, I don't know. I'd have to look at that. Yes, you need some, you have to have a viable business, either idea, right? Like go to market product, minimum viable product, or you've got like some, you've got some money coming in. I don't believe that you have to have all the money coming in. I believe that that's you invest up front and then you are going to make the money back, just like a college education. So are you ready? I don't know. But if you're stuck, if you're kind of sitting at the same income level, if you are repeating the same mistakes, if you're on your way to burnout, if you're overdoing, you're overwhelmed, right? You're over controlling, you're over inserting, right? You need to find whether you want to or not, you got to get somebody to help pull you out of that because that's not what a CEO does. Okay. They're not in it at that level. You have to step back. And sometimes, how do you know when you're ready? You just want to. Maybe you just want to take the fluff class or the certification because you just need some brain stimulation other than every single day doing the same thing over and over and over again. Now, how do you choose a coach? Lots of conversations, right? I've hired many, many, many coaches in my life. I've also taken several different certifications. And I believe that women have an intuitive knowing when they meet somebody or they're exposed to something. So I would say that initial intuitive knowing that's deep in your gut, not your brain, because your brain's going to tell you anything, but like deep in your gut, like this is where I'm supposed to be and this is who I'm supposed to do this with. Trust that. Because
Yeah, that is
that
helpful.
answer your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, what do you think is important for a mom to prioritize for her to be successful in positioning herself as the CEO in her business? What are the two things you would say she needs to prioritize these two things if she's really looking to get serious about her business?
Okay. You need to prioritize yourself. I know we hear it all the time, but stop hearing it and start doing it if you're not doing it. You have to prioritize yourself. So there's a process that I take women through. Actually, I was going to say, is it on my website? It's not on my website yet. It's really identifying what are the top three priorities in life. If everything else went to poop, right? Like, what are the top three priorities? And you have to include yourself. So make a list of those things, like one, two, and three, and then what are maybe three subcategories below it? Because it's different for everybody. It really is. The priorities should be you, and it should be what is going to take care of your family and what's going to make money, ethical money. So when we're looking, sometimes I'm coaching somebody, I'm like, why are you doing all these other things? They're distractions. They make you feel like you're, putting a lot into the business. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have you work half the amount of time on the most important things that are driving the business to support your life than all these other fluff things. So let all of the things that you think you should do, if you're shitting on yourself, drop it. Okay. And then what was your second question? That was number one. Sorry.
No,
I
yeah.
think that
Yeah,
was it. Yourself, and then really understanding your business of what drives the business. That is the priority.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It's so funny because I feel like it's easy to overcomplicate things, but it's actually extremely simple. Like it's so simple, but it's still so difficult to focus and like you're talking about, not get caught up in all the things. So many of us have emotional ties, to our business. I want to go back to our business as our baby. What's your advice for flipping the switch, moving out of the emotion and into the intellectual? Because, especially women, moms are very emotional. And depending on where their hormones are and if they just had a kid or not, like it's a touchy, sensitive topic. I'm more naturally on the logical side for the most part. And so I'm more so bringing this up for the majority of moms who I know are definitely more emotionally inclined. What would be your piece of advice or just food for thought to be able to consider more of the logical, not just the emotional when it comes to making decisions?
Yeah. Okay, so before I even go into that, I just want to let everybody know that when you buy into your business is your baby, your business is always attached to you. And if you want to change in your life, your business has to change with it. And this will happen. I have iterated over the last 20 years. I am not the woman that I was when I started a business when I was 30. I have changed. And because what I learned is that I wanted to change as a woman, as a human being. I was so attached to my business. My business and I were like, it couldn't live without me. And so I had to change the business. And that is really bad for business. If you change your business, you got to have at least a year of capital that you can lean on because you're starting not 100% over. It could be 100% over. Okay. So everybody, please divorce that belief of like your business is your baby. Your business is your business. Your baby is your baby. Totally different. Okay. How to come about this from a logical versus emotional perspective. Too often, human beings, all of us, I don't care who you are, we will feel an emotion which feels urgent to act upon it. Emotions are usually not good gauges and they're not good for making decisions. Okay. They're good for telling us, like, oh, I don't like that person and I probably shouldn't go down that dark alley with them. Great. But in business, take some time to separate out what am I feeling about this decision? Write down all of your emotion and then look at the business and say, great, okay, I'm going to put those emotions over there. They're valid. They make sense. I don't have to do anything with them. Just like a kid throwing a temper tantrum, just let them be. Okay. Let them process. Then look at the decision and say, what does the business need? What's the data that supports this? What's the evidence, the empirical evidence that I have for this? Why am I going to be doing this? Right? That is a business mindset, a business decision. And then after, figure out what you want to do with those emotions. If anything, they're probably already gone because emotions are fleeting.
And that is a good point. They're intense and they're easily, like, if we're not used to regulating. So I guess let's talk about regulating a little bit, just out of just kind of piggybacking off that again. How do we self-regulate as moms? I know there's a lot of talk about nervous system regulation these days and taking the time to be grounded and grounding yourself and things along that line. And so I would be curious for you to quickly weigh in. What are your 2 cents about training yourself, trying to be self-regulated, being obviously self-aware is a whole other thing. That's important. But talking about actual self-regulation, nervous system regulation, anything along those lines. What are your 2 cents
Yeah.
on that topic for moms?
I mean, there's a million and one different things that you can do. I think it is important. I mean, it's when we're moms, it's constant. Right. So it's constant. And sometimes it can get a little bit messy of like what's really happening out in the world versus what's happening in my business and what's even going on with me. When's the last time you even checked in with me? So I would encourage people to do this, right? Trial and error. So for me, one thing that helps to regulate is I have a very specific system every Monday morning that I do to set up my calendar for the entire week. Everything is planned. I don't have to make decisions because if I am in a hypervigilant state, or let's say a client didn't go through or didn't pay their bill and I'm in this emotional state, I don't have to make a decision. I already made it for me in my best interest on Monday morning. So having that calendar to remove decision fatigue, emotional fatigue, negotiation it helps my nervous system. So anybody can borrow that. Number two, I know for me, every single morning I have to sit in that chair back there and I have to do 5 to 20 minutes of just meditation, like calming my nervous system down, getting ready, getting in the mindset of the day, whether it's a coaching day or it's a business building day or a content creation day, which are my least favorite, like calming everything down, putting everything to the side. And then I think third one too, which I think is my savior. Okay. I build in, I have to go outside. So if I go outside, it will automatically, I can feel myself sitting in front of the computer because you're working on this limited time frame. You're like, I've got to work between this hour and this hour. And then when I turn off, I'm jetting out to the kids and it's pickup and it's blah, 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 right? Like, you know that you're going to be going into that. I can feel myself elevating. And so I make sure that I schedule in, I just go outside. If it's watering the garden, if it's sitting on my patio, if it's going for a walk, even, I'm telling you all, 5 minutes, sunshine to my eyes, feed my body, eat protein. There's so many different things, but if you don't know what one works for you, ChatGPT it and try them all. Okay. Clear that out. So we're up here and not in here.
That is very helpful. That is very helpful. And I already feel excited just thinking about going outside. Yeah, and all those things that you mentioned are all free, right? You get your calendar straight, you meditate, you take the time to slow down and ground yourself. You go outside. Those are not even things, we're not even talking about getting paid or using our resources. It's just simple things we can do as is, no matter where we are. So that's very helpful, I think, as well. Okay. So as we start to bring this to a close, I think one thing that I would like for you to just wrap this up for us is for the woman listening right now who's feeling overwhelmed or stuck, what is one bold action that they can take this week to step into their CEO era?
If somebody was feeling overwhelmed, actually, the first thing I would say to them is overwhelm is a thought. It's a belief. You're telling yourself you're overwhelmed. Now, I'm not saying you're not overwhelmed, but when you tell your brain something, it is literal. So I would say, okay, if you catch yourself being like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, pause and say, what is real here? Maybe I am. If I wasn't overwhelmed, what would I do instead? Sometimes we just get in this habitual patternistic thinking because we probably are, right? When you're raising kids and raising a business and all the things, like it's a freaking lot and can't make decisions from there. Overwhelming is actually a very debilitating emotion. It doesn't create anything. So if I wasn't overwhelmed right now, okay, let's just play this game. What decision would I make? What action would I take? What inaction would I take? Like going outside and sitting and getting away from computers. So that is the first thing is identify. Like, I'm thinking this, it's not a useful thought. It just creates kind of this purgatory of nothingness. So what would I do instead if I was motivated, excited, energetic, if I had full night's sleep, if the kids were just perfect today and the dinner was like, what would I do instead? That will always give you a different answer.
I love that. That's that's a fun question to explore. And I think too it speaks to just the value of being curious, staying curious, right? That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Well, thank you for your time today and for sharing with us a lot of valuable wisdom, a lot of nuggets. And for our listeners, thank you for listening along, for taking a few minutes out of your day to join us. I hope that you took at least one or two things from this conversation that you can actually implement in your day to day. But remember that, we're here to give back to ourselves and to our communities and to our families, and ultimately to set ourselves up for success. These are the types of conversations that most women don't have with other women. They just figure it out the hard way, but we're here to make it a little bit faster for you. And so, like I said, I hope you'll take one or two things from this conversation and start moving forward in your CEO era if you haven't already. And Rachel, they can connect with you. I believe I have some of your social media links, but also, are you open to email or anything like that? Or would you just
Yeah.
say, reach out to you via social media links that we have on
Yeah,
file for you?
you can go to lexiacoaching.com. You can go to the Canthal group. You can find me there as well. I'm trying to think if I have any other businesses out there that you would find me. I think those are the two that I'm running right now. And yes, social media, LinkedIn, all the usual places.
Right. No, that's lovely. Yeah. So definitely, I always encourage y'all to reach out, say hi. If there's something on this episode that stood out to you, that resonated with you, just reach out, even if it's just to say, thank you so much for mentioning this, because we like to hear feedback, and let me know what other topics you guys are wondering about besides making money, because I think there's more important things to get in order that help align you for making that money that you're focused on. So I'd like to dive deeper into those as well, and keep showing up, keep making moves, and don't forget to take care of yourself too. And we'll see you next time on our next episode of Mompreneurs Making Moves.